Well, good morning to all of our viewers in Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Southwest Missouri. I'm Joshua Weisel here in the Weather 225 Storm Studios. Let's walk into this forecast and show you what we got for the remainder of today. Now, this morning, you may be experiencing some rain in some locations, as there is going to be the potential for some pop-up showers, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm this morning. It's not going to fully impact outdoor events or anything along those lines there, as activity should be hit or miss. But keep in mind, may want to check the radar before you head out the door. That's going to be the case throughout the day today. Kind of like the last couple of days, it's just going to be a handful of those little pop-up showers and storms. Could be some activity in the morning. Not everyone's going to see that activity. Same with the afternoon. It's going to be one of those days where, some of the viewers are going to tune in and go, there were rain chances today? And then there's going to be others that were going, yeah, we did see some rain. And then it was also that, kind of annoying humidity that lingers after you get some rain and then the sunshine returns to the area, that type of deal. So it'll be another day like that. So if you're headed out to any farmers markets or anything along the lines there, I wouldn't cancel any activities or anything along those lines. Just keep in mind, there could be some pop-up showers, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm this morning. Activity will continue into this afternoon. Afternoon highs today, as you can see, anywhere from the lower 90s into the mid 90s. It's going to be a little bit warmer area-wide. And, going forward, temperatures are just going to steadily increase as we make our way into early next week. We'll have the 7-day forecast here coming up. Those rain chances, very similar to yesterday. Not everyone's going to see this activity today. It's going to be the hit or miss activity. And I always kind of, compare it to if you've been to coastal areas along the Gulf, right? The afternoon, you get those weird little random pop-up showers and storms. They're short-lived. They don't do a whole lot other than some heavy rainfall, some lightning, maybe some brief gusty winds, but nowhere near severe levels, right? That's kind of the activity that we're going to see once again today. Some of us may see this activity. Many of us are not going to see this activity. So I know that PBR has an event. That's bull riding in Springdale. I know we've got stuff like that. If you're curious, kind of, is it going to impact that? The pop-up activity, it's hard to say if there's going to be any that impacts that because the pop-up potential is so random that I'll just let you know. I wouldn't cancel those plans. I wouldn't worry too much about it. If you're really worried, just bring a poncho just in case. I know a lot of the seating's covered and the venue's pretty good about letting you know about the potential that moves in, that type of stuff. But I wouldn't cancel those activities because really it may be just, a handful of showers and storms, right? Nothing widespread. The rain chances, if any of us do see additional rainfall between last night and throughout the day today, it's going to be, anywhere from a couple tenths of an inch to, if there's heavier activity, maybe upwards of a half inch to an inch. Really not talking the most significant rain totals that we've seen, but enough that, it could cause some ponding, maybe some brief localized flooding with some, fast occurring heavy rainfall. That's a look at what we got there. And now moving on to the morning commute or anything along those lines there. Now, I know it's, the weekend, but many of us, there's still some of us that have to get up and go to work here, even though it's the weekend. And I just want to let you know, we're not talking widespread impacts in terms of dense fog or anything along the lines there. The model's been doing a pretty good job compared to it did a couple days ago. It handled the activity that we had yesterday morning pretty good. There could be some patchy areas, but we're not expecting widespread or as numerous locations that could see some patchy fog. For the most part, ingredients not as favorable. So that's the Foghorns Morning Fog Outlook, and I just want to give a huge shout out to Foghorns. They sponsor this channel. We're so grateful to have them as a sponsor here. So, I encourage you, support them like they support us. They got locations in Fayetteville and in Springdale, and an Arkansas original since 2004. We're so grateful to have them here as a sponsor on the channel. Be sure to support them as well. Oh boy, I tell you, it's about to be pretty warm, and that extended forecast, if you're a fan of warm weather, we've got some good news, and if you're not a fan of warm weather, I got some bad news. We'll have more on that here coming up right after this break. If you like our media and forecast, be sure to support us today on Patreon. You can advertise with us this storm season and throughout the year. Contact us today for availability and pricing. Weather 225 since 2015. All right, now that we've gotten through the forecast for today and those graphics and the Foghorns Morning Fog Outlook, let's go ahead and get into your extended forecast. And not a lot of changes from the 8 to 14-day outlook, still looking above average with those temperatures. Even though this is beyond the 7-day forecast, it doesn't mean that the warm temperatures are holding off until we get to days 8 to 14, right? In fact, next week, we got triple-digit heat that the models are indicating we could see some highs in some locations, especially in Oklahoma and the River Valley, between 102 to maybe 104. Hate to say it, but that's going to be pretty warm. Heat index values could be anywhere from 105 to 112 in some locations. The models are trying to, sometimes they're a little bit more aggressive with the temperatures the further out you get. One of the most aggressive readings that I saw model-wise was 115 heat index values in parts of our area. We'll have to wait and see how warm it's going to get, because keep in mind, the further out you are, the less uncertain the temperatures will be. It kind of goes back and forth. Once you get into that day, 1 to 4 range, that's when stuff's a little bit more on the certain side. Not 100% certain, but at least a little bit, further locked in the forecast. So these warm temperatures, they're here to stay for the near future and beyond. Welcome to summer. The precipitation, we're still in that normal range. The good news is we're not going to be rainy, and we're also not going to be completely dry. There may be a couple, days with activity, kind of like what we've seen the last couple of days, where you may get some afternoon pop-ups, stuff along the lines there. So thankfully, no widespread intense heavy rainfall like we saw in parts of June, late May. But it does look like it's going to be, not 100% dry, but also not 100%, widespread rain along the lines there. We're kind of sandwiched between above and below average in terms of the precipitation. 7-day forecast, it's looking pretty warm. Some of us will be in the near triple digit range in northwest Arkansas, upper 90s. The warmest days are going to be Monday through Wednesday, with the overall warmest day for the entirety of our coverage area on Tuesday, near triple digit heat in northwest Arkansas. Triple digit heat in the River Valley, highs near 102. I tell you, this may be a day where you get some widespread, intense heat warnings, because once we're starting to get into those triple digit ranges, and the models are indicating that we'll see some dew points in the upper 60s, maybe lower 70s. And the reason that's important is, once you start getting into the higher temperature range with the actual air temperature, and you combine that with the high humidity, that's when you get those very high heat index values, dangerously high in some cases. So we may be seeing some extreme heat warnings. Again, I can't say for certain, because there's still some days to refine this forecast and see exactly how warm it's going to get. And I'm not with the Weather Service, obviously, so I don't know what they're going to do 4 days in advance. But looking at the criteria, we're going to be, pretty much in that range for potential extreme heat warnings in at least parts of the area. I think we're going to see kind of a stretch of days where you're going to see heat advisories for the most part for parts of the area going forward. And then northeast Oklahoma, Stillwater, Tulsa, some of those locations, anywhere from 100 to 104 potentially as we get into Tuesday. Triple digit heat Monday and Wednesday as well, staying in the upper 90s Thursday, Friday. Low rain chances throughout the weekend, but it starts to drop off by the time we get to Monday for many locations. And even southwest Missouri is going to be getting in on the triple digit heat. So prepare yourself for the triple digit heat. It's here, and you still have some days to prepare. And I've been mentioning this too. If you have any sort of illnesses where the temperature is going to impact you, I just want to give you a heads up. This is not to scare you and say that this is going to be, a big deal, but I want to give you the heads up that, probably Monday through Wednesday are not going to be the best days for you to be outside. If you have issues with your AC, see if you can get a repairman to, come and assist you before it gets to that point with the heat. And also check up on the elderly and those with any sort of illnesses that are impacted with the heat. And take care of yourself, your pets, your children, all of that, because it's about to be really warm outside. So keep an eye on that. And here's a shout out to all of you viewers at home. Thank you so much. I just checked the stats on my Facebook a couple days ago, and I saw we actually hit 1 million viewers since the beginning of this year on my Facebook alone. And that's not accounting for all of our other social media platforms that are already getting hundreds of thousands of monthly viewers and everything along the lines there. We really appreciate each and every one of you. If you want to help us grow, there's a couple of ways that you can help. You can donate to us. Head on to weather225.com. We have a donation tab there. Venmo, Patreon. You get to choose the amount, the frequency. It's all up to you. And we're grateful for everyone. We've actually had several of you, start to donate there, and we're so grateful for each and every one of you, right? The other thing too is, if you're wanting to support us in other ways, if you have a business locally, we'd love to promote you on our channels. We get a lot of, frequent local viewers, and we'd love to promote your business on our channel, and you'd be helping to support local weather. So we have partnership opportunities, weather225.com. Hit the tab that says advertise with us. And then the best way to help us overall, keep sharing these posts, share us with your friends and family, your businesses. like, share, follow, subscribe, whichever platform you're watching, all of that. It really helps us out. So huge shout out to all of you. Thank you guys so much. Hopefully you have a great rest of your day. We'll be keeping an eye on the weather. And, I'll be headed out to the PBR bull riding event this evening. So if any of you are headed out there this evening, be sure to stop by and say hi. I'd love to meet any of our viewers. So, big shout out to y'all. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.